Okay, now they were a typical all-American family. A mom and dad who loved one another and 4 children who were thick as thieves. Now, life was good. Or was it? Now, no one in this family can seem to agree. The divide started the day Mom decided to divorce Dad. Take a look.
My parents divorced 12 years ago. My mom abandoned me and my siblings. My dad was a great dad growing up, and I didn't think my parents would get divorced. I didn't think their marriage was really in trouble.
When my husband drank, he was very belligerent, very violent. One night he was urinating in the hallway because he was so drunk he thought he was in the bathroom. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. So I went to the courthouse and I filed a restraining order to safely get him out of the house.
An emergency order of protection is for when your life is in danger, and that wasn't the case. My dad was very shocked and crying when he came and told me about it. I was crying, I was upset. Our whole life just got turned upside down for no reason. It was a huge shock to all of us.
The children should not have been surprised after everything they had seen and witnessed at the house. Carlin encouraged me to leave him. Carlin had even asked me, why do you stay married to him? So I don't know why she, of all other children, would have turned her back on me.
My brothers and I testified in the hearing on my dad's behalf because we did not see or witness any signs of physical abuse in our home. My sister Alyssa took my mother's side during the hearing. I had never seen my mother this way before. I never had seen her so hateful in my life. Shortly after I was at work, my mom called me and told me I needed to come get all my stuff that was sitting outside. When I pulled up to my mom's house, everything that I had there was in the driveway. This is the house that I grew up in when she threw me out of the house. My mom threw all my stuff out. It was all sitting right up there by the garage, by the bushes.
When my children found out that I had filed a restraining order, they came to the house while I was at work and took a lot of furniture and a TV. I was very angry. I could not believe they felt they had to sneak in behind my back and steal it. I was so upset that I went ahead then and changed the locks on the door and changed the code to open the garage door. I was afraid they'd come steal me blind while I was at work.
I don't know how a mom can throw her kids out of the house.
I was devastated when the kids left and sided with him. They never gave me a chance to explain my side. They did not phone me. They did not call to ask any questions. It was just almost like they dropped off the face of the earth.
She hates us because we have a relationship with our father, and I do not understand how a mom can do that to her kids.
Now, Carlin says she lives 5 miles from her mother, but they have barely spoken or seen one another in 12 years. Now, Jody's youngest daughter, Alyssa, tells a completely different story of who caused this family's drama.
I'd blame Carlin for destroying my family. She tore it all apart, ripped it up into pieces. My father was the start of it, but I think she's the one that kept it going. Carlin is probably the most manipulative person I know. Pretty evil. She is the one that always held the connection with all of us siblings. So however she reacted, she wanted the boys to react the same way. I don't know why they did it this way. I think it was wrong. I was civil with them through the divorce, with all of them, including my father. And every time I would say, why don't you talk to Mom? They flat out would just drop it. I have said I am an only child because I haven't talked to them in over 10 years. It makes me upset that they've done this to my mother. She doesn't deserve it. She was the one that was always there. She was a great mom. And all of a sudden they just turned on her. With Carlin being kind of the ringleader, I could see my brothers wanting to maybe reach out. If Carlin knew, they would get an earful. Why stick your whole body in a piranha tank? If you don't do something that she approves of, be ready to feel her wrath.
Okay, so you two haven't seen each other in quite some time.
Correct.
How long?
Probably about 12 and a half years.
Really? And you live 5 miles away? Mm-hmm. Look, why are we here today? What do you want from me?
I am hoping to get some answers of why I feel they abandoned me. I did not kick you out. I did not move. I did not change my phone number. They made it very clear to Alyssa and other family members, everyone in my whole entire family. They do not have any communication with.
Okay, so you want to prove up your victim role?
No. I want to know why.
You want to prove up your victim role. You said, I want to know why they abandoned me. I didn't abandon them. They abandoned me, and I want to prove that up.
I did not kick them out of the house. They chose to leave.
You can't keep changing the subject.
Okay.
I ask you a question, and you change the subject and give a non-responsive, not even answer, just a completely different comment. Now, you're here for a reason. You want something from me. I'm not going to come in here and just let people kind of crosstalk. I want to know why you're really here.
I would like to resolve the issue with my children. I've missed them.
Uh-huh. Now, do you want to resolve it, or do you want to be right?
No, I want to resolve it.
And how about you?
I think it would be nice to bury the hatchet, I guess. You know, I mean, I was civil with all of them for the first year.
I didn't ask you to defend yourself. I asked you what you wanted. Listen,
want
because I've read
answers.
everything you guys have said, and I have never seen such a bunch of sanctimonious, self-righteous right fighters in my life. And I didn't ask you to defend yourself. I said, how about you? Do you want to resolve it?
I do.
You said two words about resolving it and said, now, as for me, really?
I do want to resolve it. I do.
Why?
I feel that I've missed out on things in their life. I feel that they've missed out on our life. I mean, you know, we have so many family events and activities, and they're not part of them.
Does it really matter who's right?
No.
Well, why have you been fighting for 12 years to be right? I mean, think about that. What do you want? Why are you here?
I want to know how a mom can abandon 3 out of her 4 children. How you can do that to your kids. How you can drive by your daughter's house. I don't even know if it's fixable.
How sounds like an indictment. Because you're saying, how could she do that? How bad a mother could you be? You don't believe you did anything to justify being cut off by your mother, being an outcast, do you?
I don't think so.
Okay, then why did you say that? You're not really asking for an answer to that. What you're saying is indict her. She's a bad mother. She backed out. She turned her back, dumped us kids, and I want that straightened up.
That's true. When I called her a year ago, she said, I said, Mom, she said, who is this? I said, your daughter, Carlin. She calls me back. I asked her for some photos. She called me back a couple of days later, said, Carlin, this is Jody. First of all, how did you get my number? After your daughter called
You're telling me this because why?
That's not a normal response for a mom.
Okay, I didn't ask you if it was normal or not. I asked you why you're telling me this. What is your desired result?
My desired result is to just get an understanding of what did we do to
Why are you
deserve this?
telling me this?
Because I always want your opinion. Whenever something happens, I always want to know, what would Dr. Phil have to say about this? Like, this isn't normal for a mom to treat her kids this way.
Okay, so you already know that it's not normal, so you don't need me to tell you that. You just want me to join you.
I want to know if there's a mental problem or something going on. Okay.
That's not the case.
I don't have a mental problem.
Well, if she is, it could be genetic.
Possibly.
So you could all be nutso.
Well, then take the whole family.
Well, we'll take you all out back. All right. Look, I'm here for a reason.
And I want to know if it's fixable.
Yes.
Okay.
It's fixable if you're fixable. If you're fixable, if you're fixable. If you decide that you're tired of being right and you want to be happy. All right, let's take a break. Mom thinks the real problem is that Carlin is just jealous of Alyssa, who she calls her shining star. We'll be right back.
Alyssa is my shining star. It makes me angry that they've abandoned Alyssa. She really did nothing to deserve any of this. Carlin and Alyssa were never real close when they were growing up. I don't think Carlin really liked her. She was often mean and picked on her. Carlin would purposely trip her or make her fall down. I assume now that it's because Carlin was jealous of her. Alyssa is my shining star. She's always happy, she's always pleasant, she's accomplished lots in her life. It makes me angry that they've abandoned Alyssa. If you really want to do this to me, you know, so be it. But she really did nothing to deserve any of this.
Well, that was Jody, who says her eldest daughter, Carlin, is selfish, while her youngest daughter, Alyssa, is her shining star. So you're not proud of her?
Oh, I am proud of her.
How do you know? You haven't seen her in 12 and a half years.
I do not know her as an adult. I know a few things about her from others, but
How do you feel about that? Did you ever
breaks
think,
my heart.
Did you ever think at this time in your life that you would be talking about your daughter and say, I don't even know anything about her as an adult?
absolutely not.
We ask you all a lot of questions,
Absolutely.
and you've been very forthcoming. And I thought you were very honest and unfiltered, as were you. And
Thank you.
As were you, Terry. All of y'all were very forthcoming. So I got to pull an analysis of what descriptors you used for the two. Jody says her feud with Carlin started after the divorce, but it's hard to believe when you hear the way she talks about the differences between the two girls. When she's talking about Alyssa, she says, my shining star, always happy, pleasant, sees the brighter side of things, has such a big, bright, beautiful smile. You do have a beautiful smile.
Thank you.
Such a blessing to me and helped through the dark days. Always makes me smile and warms my heart. Always been very close, but divorce brought me even closer. talk to her 3 or 4 times a day. When she visits, I just don't even want to let her leave.
That's true.
Yeah.
But she has 4 kids.
It's everybody's
I know that.
daughter you would want.
I know that.
Now, Carlin, you had a different set of adjectives for her. Very selfish and self-centered, always acted like an only child in a 4-child family, a princess, would never do anything to break a nail or a sweat, the boss of everyone.
She was. When they
Not
were little
true.
children, they'd go out to play in the
What
yard.
are you, her mini-me? Every time she says something,
I'm just... No.
You said this all started with a divorce. I mean, you're describing her as a child, as being selfish, self-centered, a princess, boss of everyone.
When they'd go out to play when they were little, she'd line them up in the yard and a couple of the cousins, and she would say, okay, today we're playing Care Bears, and you be Funshine Bear, and you be this bear, and you be this bear. She even told them what bear they had to be, and they all said,
We were
okay.
kids,
I
playing in
understand
the
that, but you
yard.
were always
How dare
bossy.
you.
I know, right? I'm such a horrible person.
How dare you? I wanted to be Fun Bear.
Sorry.
It's just showing a
She was always
personality
bossy.
trait.
She was always in control and had to be the boss of everything.
So,
She just
So?
was. No, she just was.
what's your point?
They all followed her around and played whatever she wanted to play.
Okay, is
So
that-
she's always been bossy.
Or a leader?
That's
A leader.
yeah, maybe so. I don't know her as an adult. It's very sad. It's very sad.
Wow. You got a divorce,
I did. Thank God.
and I don't know. I didn't know your husband, and I know that you have described him in some very unflattering ways. But I don't know him, but I do know you got a divorce. Divorce is very difficult on children.
Yes, it is.
You were supportive of her decision during the divorce, correct? Mm-hmm. You've been supportive over the whole way. You and your brothers were shocked by it, you say. The
We were
divorce.
shocked.
You were brokenhearted by it and shocked by it,
We were shocked about how it started.
right? And it bothered you, and there was a hearing for a protective order,
Yes.
and you sided with your father about the protective order because you felt like it
We
was...
testified that the emergency order protection was untrue. There was no need for a domestic violence, restraining order, any of that. That was a shock.
Why? Why was there no need
We
for
never
it?
saw Dad hit Mom, punch Mom, never saw her with bruises. They'd argue, yes, but never physical violence. We never saw any of that. We never grew up with that.
Okay.
You did.
We did not.
You did grow up with that.
Children don't really know everything there is to know about what happens between a husband and a wife. And so it's hard for them to make informed decisions. You don't know what she said to him or he said to her when you weren't around. You don't know what happened behind closed doors. You don't know everything that goes on in the interactions between a husband and wife. And oftentimes, that's by design. She
Exactly.
might protect you from some of that awareness. He might protect you from some of that awareness. So for you to pass judgment about that, you're uninformed and it's unfair for you to do that, to sit in judgment about that, which it's also unfair. It's why I say adults should not drag children into adult issues.
Exactly.
You should not have children at the time getting up and testifying, taking positions, taking sides, weighing in on things of that nature. It's just not right to do. It's difficult enough for children to watch their family fragment without putting them into the battle zone and having them make decisions where they feel like if I side with one, I'm betraying the other. And it's interesting that the one that you seem to be happiest with was coincidentally the one that supported you.
Correct. You can divorce your spouse. You don't divorce your kids. And I felt like she divorced
I
all
did
of
not
us.
divorce you.
You
Carlin,
had nothing
you
to
used
do
to
with us
ask me,
kids.
why do you stay married to him?
Yes.
You'd ask me that.
But you don't understand, that doesn't matter. She's a child. At the time, she's a child.
And I have something else to say about protecting your children. If she's such a protector, when she first started dating Terry, we got into an argument, my mother and I. He stepped in, he threw me on the ground, grabbed my hair and grabbed my throat and threw me on the ground. She did nothing to protect me.
That's not true.
Is that because you went to punch him in the face
That's
and
not
he
true.
was protecting himself?
That is not true.
All right, let's take a break. Up next, Jody says Carlin is the cause of all the family drama and has brainwashed her sons against her. Well, we're going to talk to one of those sons. He has a view, and we'll hear what it is when we come back.
I believe there are blatant lies being told here. My daughter Carlin, I feel, is the ringleader of the group. She rules what should or shouldn't happen, and the boys just follow her and do whatever she says. I think she is the main reason that they do not contact me as well.
I was most upset about my mother making false allegations against my dad about physical abuse and emotional abuse. There was never any physical abuse at all. I went with my brother to the house to try to talk to my mother about the situation. She didn't want to speak to us and told us that we needed to get off the property, otherwise she was going to call the cops on us. My mother never tried to even explain anything at all. She had kicked us out of the house. I was completely lost, emotionally hurt. I had noticed a major change in my mom to where she did not seem like that person that helped raise us. She was different. She just seemed like an evil person. I've only spoken to my mother maybe twice in the last 12 years. My mother is a person that I no longer know.
Blake, what do you want to see happen here?
I just want answers as far as, why everything happened, why, she's never tried to get into any contact with us, because when my parents did get divorced, Alyssa, my brother, and Carlin, we all stayed close. So Alyssa, with her still staying close to our mother, she could have given our mother our phone numbers.
You told me you didn't want me to give Mom your numbers.
I never said that one bit.
Whenever I would come over to see you guys or visit, and I would say, maybe you guys should go talk to Mom or something, or give her your number, and you guys would always say, drop it. No, we're not doing that. Yes, it is true, and you know it's true.
No, it's
you guys
not.
always did that, and it was so unfair. I tried so hard to keep it together with everybody, but you guys always just bashed everybody, and you refused to even give any information at all. And you know you refused to give information.
Let me just ask everybody here, and listen, just make a decision about this. I've said that you are a bunch of right fighters. Now, I just timed your response to 37 seconds. Is that how you want to spend your time here today?
No.
Do you want to spend your time with me on national television justifying yourself about whether he told her or you told him not to give somebody their phone number? Is that really how you want to spend your time?
No, I'm just saying, in response to his question, he's saying that we
because you need to set the record straight. You got to be right about this, right?
I am right.
Okay, just so we got it. So you're right.
No, I'm just saying he was saying that we never tried to contact him when in reality...
We're now passing 2 minutes. Keep going.
They didn't want us...
We can be talking about fixing things, but we're going to get you right. We're passing 2.5 minutes. Keep going.
Okay, I'll stop.
No, seriously, you want to be right. This is what you came for.
I don't want to be right.
You want everybody to know you're right when you go home.
I guess I want to get clarification, because I think that there is a lot of he said, she said, which, and it was so long ago.
Clarification is that what you said is right.
I'm not saying I'm right.
Yes, you are. You spent the last 3 minutes now saying you're right.
I am saying
Don't you hate it when I'm right?
You are right.
No.
I can play the tape back and we can listen to it again and you can get stopwatch and time it.
I'm saying it's hard for me to listen to them say that she didn't contact them when
It's a mess.
It's hard. It is. It's hard for me to hear them say that when I feel like that they didn't want anything to do with her. They were mad from the beginning. They were mad. That was the thing.
But here's the problem. This is a big room, isn't it?
Yeah.
You could fill it 10 times over with what you don't know about what you're talking about.
That may be.
It's not maybe. You don't know a damn thing about the dynamics of the impact of divorce and fragmented families on children at the time it happens. You know your experience of it.
Right.
But you don't know his experience of it. You don't know her experience of it. Listen, guys, come on. There's nothing you're going to say that is going to convince me that you as a mother are justified in not being a leader in this family and bringing everybody back together. You got a divorce. That's your decision. And it is your right to make it, and you do not need your children's approval to do it. You had to make a decision, and I'm not judging that decision. Have I asked you one question about that?
No.
I'm not asking you, was he really this way? Did he really do that? Did he really do the other? I'm not asking you about that. I'm not judging you about that. You had to make a decision. And what I know is your history, according to all of your children, those that are in contact with you now and those who aren't, is that you spent your life as a loving, devoted, and caring mother.
Thank you, I did.
That you nurtured him, that you nurtured his brother, that you nurtured her, that you nurtured her, that you sacrificed, that you did so much for your family. Agreed?
Yeah.
Agreed?
Kids.
Agreed.
Nobody questions that. So I can only assume that if you made a decision to exit this marriage, that it was after careful consideration and deliberation. I question how it was played out with these children. I question the fact that when they had a reaction to it, where they didn't side with you, agree with you, support you in it, that created a fracture that has gone on for 12 years. I made a list, just a partial list. This isn't an exhaustive list. It's just a partial list of what you have missed in the time that has gone on. 12 years of birthdays, Thanksgiving, Christmases, Easters, and Mother's Days. You missed Jordan's high school graduation. You missed Blake's wedding. You missed Carlin's 2 college graduations, Jordan's homecoming from Iraq and is going to Iraq, the birth of your grandson Andrew's surgery, the birth of a granddaughter Liliana, Carlin's buying a house, Carlin's engagement, all of these things that you could and should be a central figure in have been passed because of a blow-up 12 and a half years ago. Are you kidding me?
Oh, it breaks my heart.
Does it make sense to you?
Goodness, no, it's
Then
never
why
made
don't
sense.
you lead this family out of this mess?
I'd love to.
What about
I'm not talking to you right now. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Why not lead this family out of this mess?
I would love to lead him out of
Why
this
not
mess.
forgive everybody for everything that's been done? Why not forgive yourself for what you've done? Why not ask forgiveness for things you may not have done? Why not just hit the reset button and start this thing over? You can't change what's happened. It seems to me that there comes a point where you just got to say, you know what? If, God forbid, you know what a fine young man you have here?
I do.
A contributing member of society. This is a really fine young man you have here. Can you imagine if, God forbid, something catastrophic happens to one of these children? And what you say is, well, they're now gone forever, and I spent the last 12 and a half years out of no contact because I didn't like what happened during a short period of time of emotional upheaval in our family that they didn't ask for. They hooked their wagons to our stars as mother and father. We ran it off in the ditch.
Right.
They got caught up in the crossfire. I didn't like the choices they made, whether it was abandoning me, turning their back, whatever you call it. And now they're gone.
There's not a day goes by I don't think about him or pray for him.
I've been wanting to know, how do you sleep at night? When you don't
Really,
have
you
kids?
really think this is
I've
the
asked
time to
that.
attack this woman?
No, I've asked
You really
that.
think, given the rhetoric that we're embracing here and where I'm taking this, you think that the next reasonable comment is, how do you sleep at night, woman?
That's what I had asked her before. She said that she's think about it. I've wondered if she has.
Every day. Every day.
Coming up, Jody is closer to Blake's ex-wife than she is to her own son. We're going to find out why when we come back, and I'm going to tell you why I think this thing has veered off so badly. You're going to be surprised what I think the catalyst is.
Even after all the incidents that occurred, even though Alyssa lived with Jody, we all kept in touch with Alyssa. I was very close to Alyssa. We were the 2 youngest of the kids. Blake invited both Jody and Alyssa to his wedding. He wanted his family there. I talked to Alyssa several times, and she gave me every excuse in the book. I explained to her my ultimatum: if you don't go to your brother's wedding, as much as it hurt me to say, I won't speak to you after this. I just can't comprehend how you couldn't go to your own brother's wedding. Alyssa feels she's an only child because her brothers and sisters are trash. That hurt even more. That just cemented everything. For her to disown the rest of us, it's a slap in the face.
I never thought they were trash. I never said that. I don't believe that.
Yeah. So that's how he thinks.
And
It's
it's
a shame.
sad.
It's a shame.
They've
Yeah.
seen posts on Facebook. That's why that's why
already
we
friends with
believe
me on
that. We don't believe
Facebook.
it for no reason.
How's this going for you so far?
Interesting.
You know what's going to happen? Y'all are going to leave here in a few minutes, and you're going to all go backstage, and you may actually bond in standing against me, which would be okay. Because you're going to go backstage and say, well, that didn't go like I thought it was. I thought he was going to help us, and all he did was pick on us. Yeah, I'm trying to shake this up because you're on self-destruct here.
Absolutely.
You're absolutely on self-destruct. Do y'all believe in the power of language? You know what I mean when I say the power of language? Words are powerful, aren't they? And I listen to everything y'all say in your interviews. I read everything you say in your interviews. Everything. Every word. And a pattern jumped out at me. You guys have a way of using catastrophic language to describe non-catastrophic events. You're talking about it, you say, the straw that broke the camel's back. They went behind my back to steal me blind. I was devastated. You were devastated?
I was devastated.
You were just devastated. What is devastated? Is that where, like, your body parts fall off of you and you're laying it? Oh, come on. I'm serious. Devastated? They dropped off the face of the earth. My children dropped off the face of the earth. I hate it when that happens. The world's just turning around and people are just falling off of the earth. They're not my daughters anymore. Whose daughters are they? I didn't know there was a window to go to where you could say, I'm turning these in. I want a reissue here. I probably would have done it a few times if I thought you could. And you call myself an only child, turned her back on us. It's like putting your head in a piranha tank.
Yeah.
Seriously? Have you ever seen piranhas attack a bleeding animal?
They go after you.
It's like putting your head in a piranha tank. You mess with her, you're going to feel her wrath. You're going to get an earful. It's torn all apart. They have just ripped our family to pieces. Just ripped it to pieces. I mean, you just pull around, there's hair, teeth, and eyes everywhere. Oh, my God. They've ripped our family to pieces. They've turned on her. You are the ringleader.
I guess.
You are the ringleader. And your mom is dead to me. Turned our world upside down. Threw my things out of the house. I saw them stacked in the driveway. They looked like they had been neatly stacked in the driveway. It didn't look like they had been thrown out of there in a frenzy. They threw my brothers out. You can throw him out? I
didn't throw anybody out.
Blake says, kicked us out. She is an evil person. No longer knows who she is, like they couldn't pick you out of a lineup. Brothers and sisters are trash, he says. Jordan says it's like a slap in the face. Just a slap in the face. Come on. Guys, do you wonder why you're all so upset? This is melodramatic, catastrophic language. Calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down. You're not devastated.
I was when it first happened.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You remained vertical. You remained coherent. You could talk. You are now.
I cried in bed for a couple days. But
You were sad.
I was sad.
That's what it was.
Well, a lot of this is going to come back and be laid at your feet.
Exactly.
Don't help me, Jesus.
I'm just saying, I agree with you.
the last conversation I had with Carlin, she had phoned me and wanted to know if she could get photos I'd had of all the children as they were growing up. That was really all I had to hang on to, and I was not willing to give them up. They were the only happy memories I had left. They'd taken everything else. Carlin said, "Well, I am your daughter." And I told her, "You're not my daughter. My daughter would not treat me this way." That was the last I heard from Carlin.
Well, Jody says she doesn't consider Carlin her daughter anymore. Carlin says her mother is dead to her. Now, Jody...
Can I correct that?
Sure.
I didn't say that she is dead. I said
Oh, yes, you did.
No. I said that it's like she's dead, but it's worse because she's not dead, but she doesn't care to be there for her kids.
That's better?
It's worse.
I raised them alone for almost 10 years. I don't understand how this could have happened. I don't know how it went from not speaking.
Does it matter?
No, but I don't know how it got so
because
out
let
of
me
control.
tell you, if you start taking inventory, you're not going to like it because you're the boss. You're the mother. You're the parent. You're the one that sets the tone, guides through the maze. So a lot of this is going to come back and be laid at your feet.
Exactly.
Don't help me, Jesus.
I'm just saying, I agree with you. I agree with you. That's how it should be. So how do we fix this? Or is it fixable?
Maybe 12 and a half years is not long enough.
You feel my pain?
No, seriously. You have
I agree.
really bad timing.
Okay.
You know, my dad used to tell me, boy, don't you ever miss a good chance to shut up. Okay?
But you're saying how I feel. What you're saying is how I feel.
My dad used to say, boy, don't ever miss a good chance to shut up. Then what you should do is just bask in that quietly.
Okay.
What you want to do right now is stop talking.
Okay.
Okay? Because I'm trying to make some progress here and you're not helping. Every situation needs a hero.
I don't know how this went from one day to a month to a year to 2, 3, 4. I don't know how it got so out of control. Please, can we start over?
Let me tell you something. You want to know something about her?
Absolutely.
She has a really good heart. And she really loves you a lot. She even loves you a lot. And she misses you a lot. And there are parts of life that you can only share in a meaningful way with your own people. And extended family is very, very important when children are growing up. Mm-hmm. You know, to learn that somebody loves them besides just their mom and dad. Mm-hmm. You know, there's like grandparents and aunts and uncles that they can feel safe with. It's how they begin to expand their radius in life. It's how they learn, you know, that they can go further and do good things. And this guy that you guys are kind of demonizing down here, all he ever had the audacity to do was love your mother. He's not trying to be your dad. He just loves your mother. And you know, I've just always had a soft spot for people that loved my children, my family. If somebody's good to my family, I always felt a kind of a kindness to people that were good to my family. And he's been a soft place for your mother to fall. He didn't ask for any of this. I am just asking you guys to hit a reset button here. Every situation needs a hero that just says, look, I don't know how we got in this mess. I probably made some mistakes in the way that this unfolded. Perhaps I misread y'all's readiness for this divorce. Perhaps you got too involved in it. And maybe I got my feelings hurt and y'all got your feelings hurt. And I don't know where the first link in that chain was, but I know where the link is that I am now. And I'm extending an olive branch. I just want to love y'all and be loved by y'all. And you know how you do it? You start out by having some boundaries. You start out by saying, let's all get together in a public place where perhaps we'll have some inhibition to having a throwdown. And the boundary is we're not going to talk about anything that's happened. We're just going to be in the moment. We're just going to be in the moment and enjoy each other's company and see the kids and just have a non-judgmental good time. And then we're going to try to build on that. And I am more than happy to bring some professionals in here that can kind of unravel this ball of yarn behind closed doors for y'all, individually and collectively, to help bring some peace to this situation.
Thank you.
But it begins with somebody standing up and saying, this situation needs a hero, and since I'm the mom, it's going to be me. Because I say enough is enough. It's time that we start loving each other up again, and I'm going to be the first one to extend that offer. And that's my suggestion.
Thank you.
To you. Not because it's your fault, not because you have any bigger role into anybody else, although I believe you do because you're the parent, but just because somebody has to, and it might as well be you.
Absolutely. I love you, Carlin, and I love you, Blakely, both. I never have not loved you. Please, can we start over? I don't know how this went from one day to a month to a year to 2, 3, 4. I don't know how it got so out of control, but I would like it to end. Absolutely.
I want to end this, and
I do want to end this.
I want to end it.
Will you accept that offer?
Yes, I'll accept it.
Will you accept that offer?
I'll accept the offer.
And just a step, I'm not saying just a step at a time. A step at a time. Fair enough?
Yeah, it's fair.
And I will get help to facilitate beyond that step.
Thank you.
Make sense? Mm-hmm. All right, coming up, tips for parents when talking to their kids about divorce. We'll be right back. Yeah, we've been talking about divorce, and I want to give you some tips about talking to your children if a divorce is imminent. First, you need to be as honest with them as possible, but you have to do it in an age-appropriate way. And I know that term gets used a lot, but it just really means you don't take them into concepts they don't understand. And you need to acknowledge their feelings. And so what are they? Well, they're going to be scared. They're going to be confused. And children always have a way of figuring out how things are their fault in some way. They might hear mom and dad arguing about money, for example, and you could be arguing about mortgage payments or something really big, but they'll go sit on their bed and say, wow, if I didn't need $11.80 for school pictures, maybe mom and dad wouldn't be getting a divorce. They do have a way of figuring out how it's their fault, so you have to acknowledge those feelings. Be fair when talking about the other parent. It doesn't help you if they don't have a relationship with their other parent. That will come back to haunt you. Let them know they didn't cause this in any way whatsoever. Tell them their parents love them, even though their feelings for each other may have changed. But let them know that both parents love them very, very much. I'll have more information about all this on drphil.com. I appreciate you guys being here today and talking about this, and I am going to provide some help and guidance after this, but take it a step at a time. It doesn't matter. In the final analysis, it doesn't matter who said what to who back when. What matters is where you go from here. Not even God can change what has happened.
Right.
What you need to focus on is where you are now and what will happen. So we'll be working on this. Thanks for mature, weighed a little over a pound, and had only a 10% chance of surviving. Now, she spent 5 months in the NICU and has been in and out of the hospital 8 times since. Ellie has a trach tube, a feeding tube, is unable to talk, and must live in a completely sterile environment. However, the problem we're focusing on today isn't Ellie's health. It's her parents who just can't seem to get along. Candace claims her ex-husband, Miguel, is an absent father who has abandoned her and their precious daughter.
Miguel is a deadbeat absentee father. Miguel has visited Ellie 2 times since he abandoned us. He will say that he's coming and then right at the last minute say, oh, I'm sick. Miguel uses the bad relationship between himself and my mom as a crutch to not have anything to do with Ellie. Miguel is very full of excuses. My daughter has a tracheostomy and she has a feeding tube. Miguel knows absolutely nothing about how to take care of Ellie and all of her medical needs. I believe Miguel has chosen his new wife over his disabled daughter.
Well, Miguel says, whoa, 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 that is completely untrue. He says he is desperate to see his daughter, but that he can't because Candace holds her hostage at his ex-mother-in-law's house. Now, he claims both women are to blame.
My ex-wife, Candace, is a vindictive, jealous, habitual liar. One of the main reasons I wasn't able to visit Ellie was because around March, Candace's mother had sent me some seriously nasty text messages telling me that under no circumstances, as long as my daughter is under her roof, that I will ever see my little girl. I took Candace to court for contempt because they were keeping me out of the house. That's why I can't make the 6-hour trip. They're vindictive enough and have been to where I could get 5 hours into my 6-hour trip and they could just change something up on me in a heartbeat to where I wouldn't be able to see her, or your time's gonna be limited. They're just playing games with me. It kills me not to be with my little girl.
Well, the only thing Candace and Miguel agree on is that they disagree on everything. Just months ago, Candace claims Miguel took his desperation to a dangerous level, threatening her safety as well as their daughters.
There was one time when Ellie went into the hospital and I was continuing to keep Miguel updated as much as possible, but most of those texts or phone calls were being ignored.
After Candace told me that Ellie was in the hospital, I asked her, how's she doing? And she refused to tell me. She just said, she's at the hospital, it's bad. I was like, just let me know what her security code is if she gets admitted so I can call and talk to the hospital. She refused to give me this code. So I then contacted the hospital myself. They said, hold on, we got her in the ER. The ER then sent me to the OR, which I was freaking out thinking, did my daughter have surgery? Is she having surgery? What's going on? And then the OR basically is like, oh, no, she's on the 8th floor. I'm like, I'm Ellie's father. I'm just trying to see how she's doing. And she's like, there's no Ellie here, sir. We can't tell you anything. And at the time, I got extremely frustrated. 2 people plus Candace just confirmed that my daughter's in the hospital. And now this lady denying that my daughter even exists. I said, this is ridiculous. I am going to just sue the whole hospital for everything you guys have.
Because the secretary would not allow him to have access to her information, Miguel threatened to kill me and shoot up every nurse in the hospital if they didn't give him the GD information on his GD daughter. The nurse
Nurses were on alert. Police officers were guarding the hospital.
Candace texted me, she's like, are you stupid? They told me that you were gonna come in here and shoot me in the head, and you said that explicitly, and all these kind of crazy, crazy things. The only thing I could think of is that she took, I'm gonna sue the hospital as shoot the hospital.
Those hospital threats did prove how irrational, scary, and terrorizing Miguel can be.
This is another example of my ex-wife Candace just being a complete liar and being completely vindictive against me and trying to keep me from seeing my little girl.
Yeah. So you say he's just absent, he's abandoned her.
Yes, I do. I feel like he just doesn't care about her, and if he does, he has a really terrible way of showing it.
Okay, well, the separation agreement says he can see his daughter anytime that he wants.
Right.
And you say, despite that, he has seen her twice in, what, 10 months?
Yeah, something between, let's say, April of 2013 and currently.
And the last time he saw her was 4 months ago.
Right,
He's not plugged in.
right. He's totally, he knows
Is that
nothing.
true?
No, I'm trying to be plugged in as much as I can.
Well, why aren't you?
Because I tried
It's
to...
your daughter, the court says you can see her, why aren't you seeing her?
Because when I went to go down and see her, that's when her mother would send me those messages saying you cannot
You should have
come
wanted to
see
see
her
her
daughter
regardless.
under any circumstances. There's been false accusations against my family and things of that nature, and they won't allow me to bring her other family to come see her or anything like that. And I can't take the chance of being within that home with her whole family around of other accusations of
Okay,
happening.
but this is your daughter, and you have the right to see her according to the court. So why would you react to, or give your power away to somebody sending you an email? Somebody sends you a text message,
should have
says,
wanted to see her
you're a slime
regardless.
ball, I hate you, don't come around here. Well, you have a court order that says you can. Why would you not do it?
I guess I was so afraid of going down. I was trying to do the best I could to keep peace. I truly was, and that's something that I definitely regret. I regret not going down there and just knocking on the door. Even if the door was closed in my face, I should have called the police and taken it from that
You
stand.
want to talk about peace? Are you kidding me? Your idea of peace is sending text messages to me where you're screaming and cussing at me and calling me every name in the book. That is not peace. That is a flat-out lie, and you know it.
Okay, well, here's what the court says that you have the right to do. This is the finding of fact. It says, quote, while Eleanor has her tracheotomy and her gastrointestinal tube, father may come to the residence of wife to visit Eleanor whenever he wishes. Wife wishes to encourage this contact and shall accommodate this visit by allowing liberal amounts of time for husband and Eleanor to spend peaceful time together. Is that happening?
No, it's not.
You're
happening.
not going, and she's not allowing liberal time and peaceful time.
And my biggest issue is that peaceful time, because there's times where I'll be like, hey, can I have am I going to have a peaceful time? You know, am I going to be able to sit in a room alone with my daughter? And she's like, there are no private rooms in this house.
Why would you sit in a room with a child you don't know how to take care of? Every time you've been in the hospital with her, you can't even change her diaper.
They haven't allowed me to change her
maybe
diaper.
the reason he doesn't know is because you've locked him out.
It's never been my intention to lock him out.
Oh, really? On that note, we need to take a break. Next, I want to talk about what the social worker said really went down at the hospital.
Little video of my
You need
daughter
to man up and go see your daughter. I don't
Thank
care what the hell somebody says.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, crawl down off your high horse, lady. The social services record says the social worker allegedly blamed her, you, for not giving your ex-husband the patient's FIN number
Asleep.
so he can get medical updates from the staff. Mom was adamant that she is not going to leave patient's room under any circumstances. Social worker reiterated to Mom that both have shared custody and he is allowed to visit separately given their volatile history. Candace advised hospital security will be contacted should she agree not to leave the room, and security will have her escorted. This mom repeated numerous times that she will not leave the room and let the dad have private visits with the patient. Hospital security will be notified upon dad's arrival. He is allowed the patient's FIN number that Mom hesitantly agreed. Mom said she felt it is unfair that patient's dad be allowed to have private visits with his daughter.
Okay, can I explain a little bit of that?
You need to, yes, because that to me sounds like you are being highly
It does.
obstructionistic.
That makes me sound crazy. But
And
let
in
me tell
fact, you wanted a new social worker because this one didn't agree with you.
The problem was when he contacted me for the FIN number, it was 4:30 in the morning. My daughter had had a really rough night. We were in the emergency room for 16 hours.
She texted me at 2 o'clock in the
I
morning.
was letting him know what was going on via text
Why not
message.
give him the number?
Because I was asleep.
You weren't asleep during your meetings with the social worker, were you?
No, I was not. I was not.
Then why were you continuing to say that her father does not even have the right to have the access number to get medical updates on his daughter?
In hindsight, I should have just given it to him. You're right. I will own that. I will say that I should have given it to him.
Then why did you want to fire this social worker? Because she's telling you what you don't want to hear.
I have had a really rough history with that social worker. This is one that has terrorized me in different ways, and I know that probably just seems like I'm just calling people out and calling people crazy and not owning it.
So you were terrorized by a social worker?
Yes. She threatened to call social service. She threatened to call DHS on me because my daughter spent a lot of time in the hospital for trach infections, and she was saying that I was actually making her sick. I never was making my daughter sick. And so this social worker has called me names and accused me of things that were not true. Now,
She's called you names. What has she called you?
She's called me a bad mother, and I'm one that tries to cause problems between the nurses and the doctors. And
those sound like clinical observations, not names.
But she doesn't have the right to make clinical observations. She doesn't have a medical degree.
Well, she's licensed to make those observations and assigned to the case.
All I know is...
So what is she supposed to do?
She's supposed to... The job of a social worker is to make sure you have help with aftercare. You have to have, like... your supplies and stuff delivered. They're the ones that restart.
Well, where did you read that that's the job of the social worker?
Because I've spent a lot of time in the hospital with my daughter. I mean, I pretty much know, like, things that they're supposed to be doing. And doctors have even told me that that's not her job.
So you understand what the congressional mandate is for the Licensing Act of social workers?
I don't understand what the congressional mandate is, but I do understand what doctors have told me when they've said that it's not her place to make those kinds of calls.
Really? Let's see if you've been cooperative here.
I haven't been. I'm not as much as I should.
On May 4th of 13, you write to Miguel, "We hit a milestone tonight. You couldn't even care less." Miguel says, "Just woke up. What is the milestone?" Candace, laugh out loud. "Oh, you're going to act like you care this morning? Thought you had a trip with your precious Ugg this weekend." Now, who would Ugg be?
His wife. She has a name. I know. She has a name.
Miguel, what's the milestone, Candace? How is our daughter doing? You respond, "You'd know if you hadn't ditched her." Candace, does it not bother you a tiny bit that our daughter is trying to crawl today and you're not here to see it? Sad, Miguel. Absolutely sad. Miguel says, "So that's the milestone that you're telling me about?" Candace, "No, it isn't. This is new. Doesn't matter. You're not here to see it."
She acts like I don't care about my little girl.
You
My
need
daughter
to
walking
man
would be
up and go
wonderful.
see your daughter. I don't care what the hell somebody's saying to you.
Thank you. It does not matter what I say. You should have come see her regardless of what was happening.
Oh, crawl down off your high horse, lady. You set him up for failure.
I did.
And then you criticize him when you win. It sounds to me like you are a woman scorned.
In ways,
It sounds
yes.
to me that you are pissed off that he has moved on
Oh, no.
and that you are using your daughter as a pawn in order to get back at him.
No, it has nothing to do with the fact that he's moved on.
Oh, that's why you call her Ugg instead
No.
of Cynthia?
Because,
I mean, what are we, 2 years old?
yeah, you're right. But at this point in time, currently, I do not.
But you
Have
still
you.
think she's a skank and a whore and white trash and all the
No,
other
those
things.
were not my words.
Yeah.
I didn't say those words.
Yes, some of those came from your mother.
Yes,
who's-
some of those,
At
most.
least we've got somebody mature here. Coming up, we're going to meet the woman Miguel says is the mastermind behind Candace's vindictive motives. It's been 6 months since Miguel has seen his ex-mother-in-law, but he's going to see her next.
Leah sent a lot of texts to Candace on the day of our wedding. She said, "You're becoming a N-word lover."
I told Miguel, I said, "I've called you plenty of things. A stupid punk, a mama's boy, a liar, a cheater, but I have never called you the N-word."
When we were together, Miguel would control all of our finances. Miguel would question me about where I went, how long I was there, who I was with. At one point, he would take my phone with him to work because he was afraid that I would have contact with my family. Miguel had me convinced that my mom would tear us apart, that she was toxic for me. My mom is not controlling me. Miguel is the controlling one.
Miguel hasn't seen his ex-mother-in-law in 6 months. He says she's so toxic, her own daughter cut ties with her while they were married. Take a look.
Leah sent a lot of texts to Candace on the day of our wedding, basically telling her that you're making a huge mistake, he's terrible for you. She said a lot of things like, you're becoming an N-word lover.
That is a lie, and he knows it. He brought that up to me and told me that I called his father the N-word and that I called him the N-word. I told him, I said, I've called you plenty of things, a stupid punk, a mama's boy, a liar, a cheater, but I have never called you the N-word.
Candace's mother, Leah, is a manipulator, a vindictive person, someone who always has to have drama in her life.
Miguel has a very bad temper. He will start to scream and cuss and immediately start calling names. Miguel has called me the word, an B, a whore, a slut, stupid, insignificant, and a loser. Miguel told me he didn't want to sit at the same table with me because he said that I was fat and disgusting.
I don't believe I ever called her overweight, but gross and disgusting is very possible.
On the outside, Miguel appears very sweet and charming, but in reality, he is a very skilled liar.
Well, Leah, thanks for joining us. Did you want her to marry him?
No, I did not.
Were you happy when she did?
No, I was not.
Okay. Have you teamed up with her in threatening him and trying to keep him away from seeing his child?
We did make some threats at the beginning, but we have really moved so far past that.
Leah, you even come close to this house, I will have you arrested. Do you understand, you stupid, disgusting punk? And then you perch up here and say, he won't come see his daughter.
But we've tried to go past that, is what I'm trying to say. This was right after the divorce. We were all so angry at the time, but we've tried to move past that. But he still won't come see her. He still acts like she doesn't exist.
You have called Miguel punk, trash, deadbeat, stupid, idiot, loser, mama's boy, ignorant, and crybaby. The only good thing you've ever done was supply a tiny piece of DNA.
I'm feeling so sorry
Then
for you.
you sent a text message that referred to Ugg, is it? Which I like to call Cynthia. Calling her cheap, trashy witch, picked up on the streets, tramp, and white trash.
Well, I mean, seriously, she walked in and stole my daughter's husband from her. I mean, I was mad. I'm not denying that for a minute. I was mad as a hornet.
Why is it okay for him to call me on the phone and say these nasty things to me, but it's somehow not okay for us to come back?
He dumped her at my house with no warning, abandoned her and the baby with no warning, and then took up with somebody that he had been talking
no
to
warning.
for
There was a complete plan of her to spend time
That
at
is
your
in your
house.
head, and you know it. And then before we knew it, he was engaged again. So you tell me that you hadn't already had it planned to take up with somebody else.
Not at all.
Oh my gosh.
No, I definitely
Now's the
didn't.
only time you have a chance to be honest. Please do
Yeah,
that.
please do.
I've been nothing but honest from the whole get-go.
Now try it. Maybe it'll get contagious.
right from
We're the ones that takes care of that baby day in and day out. I don't know why everybody's acting like that it's our fault, all our fault.
Who's everybody?
Every time he says something, they applaud like he's some great speaker.
This isn't an election. This is just a conversation. I mean, come on, you've got to own the fact. Look, you're the adult here, right?
I own every stupid thing I did. I know how immature and stupid and angry I was.
Why did you do that?
Because I was mad. She's my daughter.
Well, there's one more player in this mix.
Oh, here we go.
We might as well get her out here. Up next, for the first time, Candace will meet the woman she suspects was cheating with her ex-husband while they were still married. The woman she refers to as Ugg.
Not
After
anymore.
the break.
Not anymore. I am very afraid that Cynthia is an alcoholic.
Cynthia's trash. I think anybody that purposely goes in and messes up somebody's marriage, what else are you going to call them?
My relationship with Miguel is perfect, except for the issues with Candace and her mother. They are teenagers.
I have never met Miguel's new wife, Cynthia. I've seen her from a distance and seen pictures of her. I've seen many photos of Cynthia drinking alcohol. I don't like to judge like that, but I do believe she might at least have a drinking problem.
I'm very afraid that Cynthia is an alcoholic.
Cynthia appears to me as somebody who hasn't grown up, somebody who is selfish, who wants what doesn't belong to her. Cynthia appears to me as somebody who might just be as mean and vindictive as Miguel is.
My nickname for Cynthia is, I believe she is a big word.
I think she's trash. I think anybody that purposely goes in and messes up somebody's marriage, what else are you going to call them? After Miguel dumped Candace and Ellie, we saw Facebook pictures and posts of Cynthia and Miguel within a matter of weeks. Miguel's in a relationship with Cynthia, hugging each other and sharing their holidays. It's disgusting. I wanted to slap his head off, and I wanted to slap her head off too. Cynthia stole my daughter's husband. I think Cynthia would love to steal Ellie.
My biggest issue with Cynthia is not so much that she's with Miguel. I believe that she has inserted herself into Ellie's life and trying to be a step-parent to a child she doesn't know. I just don't want to bring a stranger like that around my daughter.
Leah, you had said earlier that all of this name-calling and immaturity and want to slap their heads off and everything was early on when you were really upset, but that you had matured through that.
I know.
We taped this yesterday.
I know. I was thinking that while I was saying it. I thought I wasn't mad enough.
I mean, I'm just saying.
This is a totally different situation, though.
Right, okay. Cynthia says that she has been nothing but nice and can't believe the childish behavior and horrible harassment she's received from people she doesn't even know. Take a look.
I went on my first date with Miguel on February 4th. And then 5 months later, we got married. I love it. It's the most beautiful ring I've ever seen. My relationship with Miguel is perfect, except for the issues with Candace and her mother. Candace and her mother act like they're teenagers, sending mean text messages and threats. They are needlessly malicious. Miguel's ex-wife, Candace, is a horrible person. If you took all of the bad things you could think of and wrapped them into one person, that's how I see her. Early on in my relationship with Miguel, Candace was messaging me, telling me that Miguel was a bad person and that I needed to leave him. On Facebook, if you're not friends with someone, you have to pay money to send them a message. So not only did she go out of her way to message me, but she actually paid to do that. Candace and her mother are very disrespectful of my position as Miguel's wife and as Ellie's stepmother. I love Ellie. Even though Candace tries to keep Miguel away from Ellie, Miguel and I are going to do everything we can to constantly pursue his right to see his child.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate it. This is Leah.
Oh, nice to meet you.
And this is Candace.
Nice to meet you too, Candace. Hello.
And, you know, they're
be
sitting
best
there
friends
talking
with her.
about the things that we've said. She said some things that she doesn't know anything about. She doesn't know anything about us, except what he's told her.
Well,
and
she
he
knows-
might be a little biased.
I've seen things that you've written to him.
And why don't you tell him when I sent that text message? It's days after you dumped my daughter. So
Yes.
why are you acting like it's a daily thing? Why are you sitting there acting like it's a daily thing? Like
Whoa,
we're harassing
wait a minute.
y'all?
She just got here. What do you mean sitting there acting like?
I'm talking about on the
how
thing.
is she acting like anything? She's just sitting there.
I'm talking about on. She just said
Why
that we
is it not
harassed
okay
her.
for us to be upset? Can
She
you
just
please
said
answer
that we've been harassing
sorry?
her. I've never said one word to you.
Can you please just explain to me why it's not okay for me to be upset?
Because you have a daughter that's getting caught in the crossfire between your immature exchanges with your husband. That's why.
But it's not that.
No, there's no but. You said, tell me why it's not okay for me to get upset. I said, because your daughter's paying the price. She's caught in the crossfire between your sophomoric behavior with your husband and Cynthia.
That's why we wanted to do this, because it's time it stopped.
Because here's the
That's
thing.
what I'm trying. You look like you don't believe me. It's absolutely the truth. Dr. Phil, I've waited all my life to meet you. I want your help. I seriously do. And it's not all our fault.
I'm not saying it is.
I legitimately just want to
You heard me say straight up that he needs to man up, not be intimidated by your ridiculous threats and name calling.
Exactly. I know that that was not the right thing to do. And Ellie means more to us than I can even put into words. I don't want her to get to the point old enough that she sees this going on. I want us to make sure
Well, let
we
me
fix
ask you a
it
question.
first.
How would you feel if he had Ellie and was with his family and locked you out and threatened you if you came around? How would you feel about that?
Dr. Phil,
Heartbroken.
I have thought about that. It would break my heart. I would want to die if that happened. I don't want that for them. I have felt sorry for his mother because she doesn't get to be the. And I know you might not believe it, but it's the truth. I feel sorry that she doesn't get to be part of Ellie's life.
You guys accused his mom of trying to kill Ellie.
She turned the oxygen off. What would you call it?
It was on when I walked off, when I walked out of the room, and it was off
she
when I
admitted
came
it.
back
She
in.
said
You
she
put the-
did it.
you
She
put
turned off the
pieces together.
oxygen.
Thank you.
What else would be her
if
reason?
that was the case, though, why wouldn't you call the police?
Because we couldn't prove it.
Why wasn't
There was no way to prove it. What were we gonna do?
Oh, believe me, we would have.
So you can't talk about something you don't know because you weren't there. Thank you.
Are you still in love with Miguel?
God, no. Not at all.
Candace says that she has gone out of her way to include Miguel in his daughter's life. So does he know the latest information about his daughter? We'll find out after the break.
The last time I visited my daughter, she was starting to make noises with her mouth, make little pops, and stand up on her own by pulling herself up. But I have not seen a single video or even a text message with information of what she is capable of doing right now. I have no idea whether Ellie can walk. I have seen her crawl across the bed, so I'm pretty sure she's scurrying around the floor, but anything past that, I have no idea.
Miguel says part of the reason he's here today is to find out how his medically disabled daughter is doing. He hasn't seen her in 4 months and blames his ex, Candace, for keeping him away. Candace says, hey, I have gone out of my way to be accommodating to Miguel, but he's just too wrapped up in his new life with his new wife.
Everything that we're saying now needs to be said. I have lots of questions that I feel need to be answered.
Which are?
Such as, how long have you actually been with Cynthia?
None of your business.
None of her business.
But if I feel like he was cheating on me, why shouldn't I know that?
What does that have to do with your child? You are now into co-parenting. See, the relationship didn't work. You got a divorce.
Because he dumped her.
But that's over.
I know.
This is not history class. This is Dr. Phil. History class is happening over at the high school. This is now. We're here. So we're here talking about the child, and you say you want to know if he cheated on you. I don't. Did you cheat on her? I don't know. He says no.
No cheating.
There's no cheating. They say no cheating. One of the first things I ask you is that you seem like a woman scorned, and you said, oh, yeah.
In ways I am, but not in ways I am not because they're together. It has nothing to do with that.
So you're scorned by someone else?
No. I'm scorned because of the way he's treated me, and he's acting like it's all my fault. It's not all my fault, because it takes two to tango, doesn't it? He wasn't trying to come see her, but I wasn't necessarily trying to let him. It just doesn't make sense how this all seems like it's my fault.
Nobody said it's your fault. I thought that the part about whether you were a good wife and husband was pretty much resolved with a divorce. That you decided that wasn't working. And maybe he's a crummy husband. Maybe
He's a great husband.
He was crummy to her.
Maybe he has grown up. Maybe he will be a better husband to you than he was to me. But please do not sit there and act like what I went through didn't happen, because it did. I was there, you weren't, that I know of.
I've never met someone as mean as you.
She is not mean. She's wonderful. And you married somebody way meaner than she is.
I think I would have figured that out by now.
Easy now, easy now.
He went running through the house one night when I was there
being...
screaming and cussing me out like I was a dog under his feet.
They were taking my daughter away when she left
You
the
are
first
lying.
time.
The only thing
to him anymore. He's lying.
The only thing she said that night that you got upset about was the fact that she said, I came to see you and Ellie.
That was then, this is now. If you love your daughter, and I know you do, then you need to decide that you want to work on getting past all of this anger and bitterness and co-parent actively. And there is no excuse, not drive time, not feelings of tension or stress or anything else that should be a high enough mountain or a thick enough wall to keep you from being actively involved in your daughter's life.
You're right.
And I think you do have a lot of unresolved conflict here, and I very much want to get you some help with that.
I would love that.
Now, Candace sent us some video of Ellie that you haven't seen. I wanted to give Miguel an opportunity to see his daughter in one of her most recent milestones. Here you go.
Miguel. I miss my baby. That was at therapy. She gets therapy once a week with speech and physical and occupational.
So there you go. She was a pound?
1 pound, 9 ounces, 13 inches long.
1 pound, 9 ounces at birth.
Her body was the length of my hand, and her little limbs would just hang off.
And she has fought since the day she was born. That's why it's important that we get this worked out.
She doesn't deserve this that we have, Miguel. We have to get past this.
I completely agree.
I want to get past it. I do.
Well, listen, I am going to get you some help and support. Fair enough? Okay, next, it's been 10 years since this young man nearly stole my car. He was a guest I will never forget. And he's here and cannot wait to see how he's doing. We'll meet him right after the break. Today's show has a little extra sentimental value to me because it is my 1,999th show. That's right. That means tomorrow is the big one, and it is full of surprises and updates from our most talked about guests over the past 12 years. But there have been so many memorable moments, there was no way they could all fit in one show, so I figured I'll start a day early. When I first met Ryan 11 years ago, he was only 8 years old and bravely battling leukemia. This little boy not only stole my heart, but also nearly stole my car. Take a look.
Dear Dr. Phil, my name is Ryan. I am 8 years old. I have leukemia, and it would be a dream come true to meet you in person.
You were telling me you like fast cars?
Yeah.
You and I are going to go out the back door, and I got a Formula One Ferrari out in the parking lot. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We'll be back, maybe.
The car was the best part of it all. It was awesome, man. You're a crazy driver. Dr. Phil's show made me feel so much better. I almost felt like I wasn't on chemo.
Well, joining me is Ryan's mother, Roxanne. Now, Ryan is celebrating 8 years of being cancer-free, correct?
Yes.
Oh, how great is that? Ryan is here also. Ryan, come on out. Well, good to see you. Well, good to see you. So how's life for you, friend?
Just turned 18, graduated high school.
Wow. That's just great.
Yeah.
Now, Ryan made such an impression on me 11 years ago that I framed a photo of him, and it's hanging in a very special place in the studio. And that's a picture of you and I in my Ferrari 360 Spider, and I hope you've never told your mother how fast we went. I valued that so much, so I made a copy of that for you. And I hope you'll hang that in your house. We have partnered again with our friends at Expedia and Marriott for a week-long stay at the beautiful 4-star Waikiki Beach Marriott. Okay? All right. It's good to see you, buddy. Thanks so much. All right, my next guest, Tim, enraged viewers this year when he said in reference to his adopted son, Adam, I wish we actually drove past the hospital that day, went to the Humane Society and picked up a couple of strays instead. Take a look.
My son, Adam, is self-destructing before my very eyes.
After Adam's drug taking, his violent behavior, and the DUIs, we said no more.
You say he's an animal that belongs in a cage.
Absolutely.
I pulled a knife on my dad because I couldn't get their attention in any other way.
I regret the day that we adopted Adam.
Just 6 days ago, they had to bail him out of jail due to a felony arrest just so they could be here today. Okay, Adam, you just came out and you threw a pill bottle at your mother.
You said that you should have just drove past the hospital.
You know something, Adam?
That makes me feel really good.
I think you need help with drugs and alcohol. This is a gift from us to you.
You do your part, we'll do ours.
Actions speak louder than words.
Well, Tim, Adam, and Karen are here, and boy, how things have changed for them. So, Tim, talk to me here.
Wow. Well,
different world?
I wish there was something else other than just thank you I can say to really thank you, truly, that what you've created for us.
Well, I appreciate your willingness to come here. Mom, does it feel different?
It feels wonderful. We have our son back.
And Adam, they tell me that you have worked very hard and very sincerely in everything that you've been about down there.
I just wanted to say thank you to you, Ben, and Origins. You guys saved my life.
I'm glad to hear that. And Ben, congratulations to you. And again, thank you for all the work that you do. Also, a very special thank you to OnSite for helping this family. Next, Her wedding day was a disaster when she fainted and blacked out right before saying, "I do." And it was all caught on tape. And they redid their wedding right here on this stage. Find out how they're doing 10 years later. Did it stick? We'll find out after the break.
My wedding day was a complete nightmare. I blacked out, collapsed, and I fainted.
Crystal says she's ready to conquer her fear of walking down the aisle once and for all.
Dr. Phil gave us a chance to redo our wedding on television. I was a little bit nervous.
Dr. Phil gave her some pointers to help her out.
He told me just to relax and take deep breaths.
Crystal, do you still take Brent to be your wedded husband?
I do.
Then you may kiss the bride.
We've been married for 10 years and we have 2 wonderful little boys.
Dr. Phil, thank you for letting us renew our vows. It was a really special moment.
That's great. Well, today's updates are just the tip of the iceberg, and tomorrow it is show number 2,000. The entire audience will be full of past guests. We are bringing them in from everywhere. And you'll hear updates from the biggest news stories from over the last 12 years. From what's going on with Casey Anthony to how the voice of Manti Te'o, catfish hoax, Renaya Tuiasosopo, is handling life out of the spotlight. We'll find out how Todd Herzog, who went from winning Survivor China to barely being able to walk on this stage, is doing. Did he stay in treatment? Is he sober? We'll also update the most rebellious teens ever. Did they manage to turn their lives around? There will be updates on the most controlling spouses and in-laws ever. Yeah, you guessed it. Khaloud will be here. Plus, you at home will have a chance to win amazing prizes and vacations. You won't want to miss it. Now, also, I'm proud to announce that in 3 days, it is the live launch of Robin McGraw Revelation, Robin's own purpose-driven lifestyle brand. She will be premiering her skincare line on HSN's Beauty Report Thursday, April 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by multiple live appearances on Friday, April 11th. Also, Robin plans to make a special announcement on HSN regarding her foundation, When Georgia Smiled. Now, for a complete show schedule, you can visit hsn.com, keyword Robin McGraw. How excited are you?
Oh, I am so excited. I can't believe it's almost here. I have waited 3 years to launch Robin McGraw Revelation, and to be able to do it exclusively with HSN is so exciting.
And it is, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun that When Georgia Smiled is going to be part of all of this.
Oh, I have a beautiful, beautiful announcement to make for the foundation.
Yeah, and When Georgia Smiled is Robin's foundation that is devoted to helping women that are victims of domestic violence. Yes. And she's very active in